皆さんこんにちは。学校でおなじみのマコスカ先生です。Hi everyone. This is the list of your grammar points that I gave out on Friday. I've made a few edits, which I will mention as I go through. And I'm just going to go through each grammar point, explain what I've got written, and say it so that you have practice hearing it. The first grammar point is how to say I want to do something. So you need to use your polite form of the verb, but you take off the must and add tai. So the example I have here is I want to eat pizza. So pizza wo tabetai. Pizza wo tabetai desu. So the two examples are, the first is the plain and the second is the polite. You're just adding des most of the time. So I'm going to go through them quite quickly. The grammar point for to say how it looks or something looks, you have the adjective that ends in I. You take off the I and add so to say it looks like something or it looks. The example here is the cooking or the food looks yum. So we have umai, take off the I and add so. So you get ryori wa umasou. Ryori wa umasou desu. So the first one is the plain, ryori wa umasou. Ryori wa umasou desu, just adding desu to make it polite. The grammar point for how to say compared to be, A is or has. Remember, A is what comes before wa, and that's our subject. So the example here is compared to Sydney, Tokyo has a greater population. Tokyo wa Shidoni to kurabete jinkou ga oi. And that was the plain form. Tokyo wa Shidoni to kurabete jinkou ga oi desu. So in polite language you just add des again. So for these first three it's all been the same kind of thing. Okay, the grammar point for saying which is better. Dochi no hou ga, and then the adjective. So you compare the two things. You say one thing to, another thing wa dochi no hou ga ii desu ka? That example is saying better because our adjective here is I. So the example sentence is, which do you think is better, winter or summer? Fuyu to natsu wa dochi no hou ga ii to omoimasu ka? Fuyu no hou ga ii to omou. So I was just reading those two Japanese sentences there. The first one is a polite way of saying, which do you think, because we were using our omoimasu, which do you think is better, winter or summer? And the person answers actually in plain form, so instead of using omoimasu, they say omou, and they say fuyu no hou ga ii to omou. So that's plain form. Our polite form would have been fuyu no hou ga ii to omoimasu. Okay, next grammar point is for how to say the way to. You'll notice that on the old sheet we had a bit of a mistake here, and this is a new grammar point that I've put in. Not completely new because we have done it in class, but it's new to this sheet. So the grammar point here is how to say the way to do something. We'll use our polite form, and then you take off the must, the polite form of the verb, take off the must, and add kata. So the way to do something. The way to make mochi is my example. Mochi no tsukurikata. And if it's in a sentence and it was supposed to be polite, mochi no tsukurikata desu. Kore wa mochi no tsukurikata desu. This is the way to make mochi. Okay, the next grammar point is the use of because. And I said on Friday, you can actually use it to answer a question, and that can be the end of your sentence. So my example here is, I've got three, and we always have to be aware that if we hear kara most of the time, we're going to know by the context of the sentence, but you could have kara or dakara, depending if it's after verbs or i adjectives, it's going to be kara, and if it's after nouns and na adjectives, dakara. You won't need to be creating this time around, just be listening. So if you hear dakara, you know it means the same as kara, because. I want to eat pizza because I am hungry, is our example. Onaka ga suita kara pizza ga tabetai. So this one was plain, didn't have a des on the end, and our reason because I'm hungry. お腹が空いた means I'm hungry. ピザが食べたい is our outcome. I want to eat pizza. Peaches are sweet, so they are popular. ピーチは甘いから人気があります. That's something you might have done in year 10. 人気があります means it's popular. And our reason was because peaches are sweet. ピーチは甘い. I want to eat a pizza because I hate peaches. Nothing against peaches, it's just an example sentence. ピーチが嫌いだからピザが欲しいです. So another grammar point in there that we did. 欲しい, saying you want something. I want pizza is the outcome. And the reason is because this person hates peaches, so they said ピーチが嫌い first. だからピザが欲しいです. Next grammar point is doing this, that, and the other. So this was, and when you hear this in a sentence, you'll be hearing tari, tari, maybe sometimes dari, and that will let you know this person is listing something. And they'll end with suru shimasu, occasionally maybe shite, which is the te form of do, which is suru or shimasu, right? If it was leading on to another sentence. So the way that they build these sentences is you're using the plain past form. So, for example, tabemashita is the polite form of did eat, but we need the plain. So it's tabeta. So tabetari is one example. Yomu is the verb to read, but the plain past is yonda. So that's one of ours that would be dari instead of tari. Yondari. And then suru, you're looking at the plain past, which is shita, when you did something, and that one will come up quite a lot because we use do verb a lot, so you have shitari there. So my example sentence was, on weekends I usually eat pizza, read books, and play video games. 週末はピザを食べたり、本を読んだり、ゲームをしたりします. And the plain version, and sorry I read the polite first there. 週末はピザを食べたり、本を読んだり、ゲームをしたりする. Okay, so you've got shimasu for plain and shimasu for polite and suru for plain. Suru plain, shimasu polite. Our desmasu is the big key to let us know that that person is speaking in polite language. And we know that that's how you can tell the relationship of speakers in a conversation. Are they using the polite language to each other, or is one using the polite and one using the plain? So listening for that will let you know, okay, this speaker is lower or higher in the social hierarchy. Okay, so I've got a little question here. Pizza wo tabetai. Pizza wo tabetai desu. Alright, sorry, that's another mistake in the one that I have sent out. So just ignore that. That's our Thai version again. That's just in there twice, so please ignore that. And we'll move on to the next grammar point, which is for using no and nano to say the thing, or the one, or the act of, or the ing. So just reading that English might sound a little bit confusing, but you'll understand a bit better with the examples. So after verbs and adjectives, you add not to the end, and after nouns and adjectives you add nano. So the first example, in the morning I like eating rice cakes. So remember we did last term, the act of eating is taberu koto. We substitute koto for no here to actually mean the same thing. So this person says, in the morning I like eating rice cakes. 朝は餅を食べるのが好きです. So literally I like the act of eating rice cakes, but obviously in English we say eating to say the act of the verb eat. The second example, it's going to break up over the next page. I would like to pray at the temple for the first year visit. At the famous one. Sounds a bit like a weird sentence, but as we've been talking about this term, the first visit to the temple is Hatsumode. So in the first few days of the year they'll go to the temple or a shrine. Omairi was to pray. So when they go to a temple or shrine they do Omairi. And if you live in a big city there's usually a famous temple. And so that's what makes this sentence make a bit more sense. So the Japanese is 初詣は寺でお参りしたいです。有名なのがいい。So the first sentence is just simply I'm going to pray at a, or I want to, it's a したい sentence. I want to pray at the temple for my first year visit. 有名なの, so a famous one is good. Okay. がいい。有名なのがいい。Okay, I hate the hot, in brackets weather here, because when you say I hate the hot, you are talking about the weather. 暑いのが嫌いだ. So when we talk about weather, 寒いのが嫌いだ. I hate the cold. This example sentence is 暑いのが嫌いだ. I hate the hot. So that's a way of saying the using your adjective and the not. Grammar point for what is. I've used this lots in class. So put your subject first. は何ですか? Putting that together with our というのは. So not again is the thing. という called. So the thing that is called, and you put the subject at the very beginning of the sentence, and our 何ですか at the end, and all together is what is this thing called broccoli? ブロッコリーというのは何ですか? So that's our polite way of saying it. ブロッコリーというのは何だ? That's a little bit less formal. And ブロッコリーというのは何? is another way of saying it informally. But again, we've got our des there, so that'll let you know when it's polite. No des, not polite, or it's informal. We won't say impolite here because it's not necessarily rude, but it's that plain way of speaking that usually is reserved for people of the same social level of you or higher to lower. Okay, grammar point for saying the most of a group. Now this is one that we've done parts of, but we haven't done all together as one. So I added it in here so that you have it explicitly. So for example, you put the group that you're talking about. So in my example lower on the page, it's about fruit is the group. No nakade, so within. Subject, so the actual thing in the group that you're talking about. Ga, ichiban, and we know that's number one or most, so not the best. Ichiban I is the best, but ichiban plus another adjective, so it could change into something else, meaning the most sweet, which is my example below, most delicious, ichiban oishii, and then ending in des for a polite sentence. So the example sentence here, peaches are the most sweet of all fruits. フルーツの中でピーチが一番甘いです. So that's our group word being fruit, the subject within the group being peaches, and what are they the most? They are the 一番甘い. Amai is sweet, so they're the most sweet of all fruit, according to this person. And a plain way of saying it, we're taking off our des only. So フルーツの中でピーチが一番甘い. Okay, the last couple. This one we went through the other day with just half of it, using the te form and kuremasu. So we did agemasu to give, kuremasu when someone gives to you, and then moraimasu when you can actually talk about someone receiving from other people. But when you're talking about someone doing something for you, you use this gave plus the verb to say they did it for you as a favor. So if you're doing it for someone else, you would use the te form of the verb and agemasu or ageru if it's plain, and then if someone did it for you, you would say te kuremasu or te kureru, that te form of the verb. So the example here I have 友達にディナーを, and so from skuru, which is to make, the te form is 作って and then a plus あげました. So the sentence reads as 友達にディナーを作ってあげました. So the meaning here is I made dinner for my friend, and you can put in brackets if you wanted to as a favor, but it's when you do something for something else or someone does something for you, using that give or receive verb to say that you did it for them. And then the plain form of that one is 友達にディナーを作ってあげた。If you're going to, you could say 友達にディナーを作ってあげる。Next one, my friend made dinner for me. So you have here 友達が So my friend 私に to me ディナーを and again from 作る we get 作ってくれました So they did it for me 友達が私にディナーを作ってくれました Sorry, another mistake here should all be 友達がand then to me so it's 私にif you wanted to do the plain form of that sentence 友達が私にディナーを作ってくれた Or if they're going to in the future you'd use 友達が私にディナーを作ってくれる So that's something that's a future verb coming up. And the very last one, grammar point for is different, not the same. This isn't so much a grammar point as it's just a way of saying something is different. I think different is better because it's a positive. If we start saying not the same, 違う is a positive sounding verb, and to say is not the same, 違わない, things start getting confusing. So for now we only need to remember that in the example here, A と B は違う. So just these two, you're comparing the two examples and then using the verb to say is different. So the example I have is Australia and Japan's cooking are different, or is different, and that would be オーストラリアと日本の料理は違う. Okay? Or a polite form is オーストラリアと日本の料理は違います. So it's not saying that Australia and Japan's food is different. It's saying Australia and Japan's food is different. So if the sentence was just オーストラリアと日本は違います, that would be just very simply saying Australia and Japan are different. But I've got ryori in here just as something to say of these two countries. Alright, so that's all of the grammar on our list. My apologies again, there was another few mistakes in there, so hopefully you use the one that I've emailed to you this morning to do your revision, and you should be able to see where the couple of mistakes are in there, because I have mentioned them in this video or audio. If you have any other questions, pxmcc6@eq.edu.au is my email, and good luck for your test on Tuesday. 皆さん勉強頑張ってくださいね。さよなら。